Yes.
The
The detriment of
detriment
comparison.
of comparison. Y'all,
And so I don't know what he's about to say, y'all, but I was like, does this have something to do with last night? Do tell.
listen, it has shown up. It showed up last night, but it is something that I've wrestled with my entire life. You know, and we'll get to possible reasons why. Um, I'm in an industry that is a competitive industry, the music industry.
Mhm.
And when we talk about Grammys, when we talk about opportunities to perform on certain stages and to do this or to do that, or who gets amplified this way and who gets promoted this way, you can find yourself caught up in the vortex of comparison. And you may have every intention in the world to not be a person to compare yourself, but it's easy to get locked into it because the industry literally will do it for you if you don't do it.
Right.
And
Right.
so I have recently been warring with it and challenging myself to really do a better job at maybe acknowledging the thing that I'm like, hey, that could be cool to have that or to do that, and and quickly bouncing back to, but isn't it cool what I've gotten, what I'm able to do? You know,
Mhm.
isn't what I'm able to do pretty cool too? Like
Well,
both
wait,
can
let me ask you
coexist.
something about that.
Okay.
When you say, if you see something, you say, oh, that would be cool to do, and then you bounce back and say, but what I do is cool, whatever. Are you saying in a jealous way? You say, I mean, because if not, it feels like, oh, I'm inspired. That's
So
great.
let me
Wow.
say this. I have, because I've been an independent artist, firstly, I'll remind people of this phrase, and it is true. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Mm-hmm.
It literally will rob you of the opportunity to enjoy the goodness of your reality because you are locked in on a thing that, one, is not you, and two, does not belong to you. And I don't want any of us to get caught up in this vortex that is comparison, because it will only harm you. It will rob from you. It will take from you without needing any of your permission. You actually give it access to do it when you perpetuate it, when you partake in it. And so let me give you the
Oh,
situation.
but look, hold on. Before you give me the story, I would like to bring up something from one of my favorite books about what you just said.
Beautiful.
It's said in a different way, and basically, it is. I have the book in my hand. Stand by, because you said comparison is the thief of joy, which
Yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly. I do not compare myself to anything or anybody, because the way I was raised was that I was convinced and told, because my mama said it, that I was the only one. So what would there's nothing to compare myself to, right? So there's this book that I
Right.
wrote, 10 Things Your Mama Never Told You But Mine Did, Unconventional
That
Wisdom to
part.
Navigate a World with
No, no, no.
Confidence.
Don't
Okay.
don't speed past that. Say it one more
But let me
time.
tell you, this is my book one of my books is 10 Things Your Mama Never Told You But Mine Did, Unconventional Wisdom to Navigate the World that cares nothing about you or your feelings. And each chapter of this book is something my mom would tell me that as an adult, I look back and say, wow, she
Hmm.
got me ready. Because don't nobody care about my feelings. And I'm
Right.
still going to, shine. Chapter 1, because it is that important. Chapter
Hmm.
1, the title is You Are So Very Special. But remember, you ain't special. Okay. Be clear. Okay.
That is
You the only
so
one
right on.
on the planet. You are so special. There's nobody like you. You have never existed before. There will never be another you. There's nothing else to look at other than the mirror when you're talking about you.
Yeah.
Also, and you still got to
Yes.
be a good person. You still got to show up and you still got to
Yes.
do the work. You still got to. So you are so special. But remember now, you ain't special.
That is so beautiful. I'm kind of,
Okay.
I liken it to the no one is better than you, and
Not one.
you are not better than anyone else.
Exactly.
And
I
what
respect
hap
everyone the same. I
ex
don't I mean, I can be a fan of someone, but I generally tend to have great relationships with people that I admire because they can feel that even though I admire them and respect them, I haven't put them on a pedestal. I mean, we still I'm you ain't I mean, you here with me, right? But also if it's somebody else that society or the perception might say that they don't have what I have, you have that and more probably if I get
I
to know you, but I don't move based on that.
s
And that's
s
that comparison now that you introduce social media into our lives and that takes it times 25 billion.
yeah.
But continue because you are in an industry where we all are. Whereas, well, this person sold this many tickets, this many
Right,
albums, or
and they
this
literally will
person
have
started.
you they
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
will have you pushed right back in the space of, "No, look at this comparison." Because,
Look at
I mean,
this. Yeah.
because at the end of the day, business requires comparison. But when you live there, that is the danger zone. Like I think it's fair enough to allow comparison to inform you on what you can work on to develop, but comparison in the sense comparing using comparison in the sense that I need to do what they're doing in order to feel validated according to what they're doing. That's where there's danger. And I think one of the things that I've got caught in is it I love to see everybody winning. But my thing is, one, I know that there's room for all of us to win. So I'm thinking, why am I not allowed to win with you? Like we can all win at the same time. Why can't we all be killing it?
Do you feel like you feel like you are not allowed to win?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's like only a certain few can have a part of this moment. Or
Okay.
so I ran into my big brother and he's a pretty well-known artist and he has this big event and I was talking to him about being a part of his event and I was like, man, when you gonna have me do it? Like, and he's talked about having me do it for a minute and he was like, I need to know some of your numbers, which is once you start to pull in the analytics,
Right.
comparison starts coming into this thing. And I said, well, I bring in this many numbers usually for my shows. It ranges from this to this. And I said, my natural nature, not because I wasn't happy for the person, but I'm like, but you've had somebody else on there that doesn't bring in as many that I have, and you've had
Mhm.
them. And he says, they're a bigger star.
Mm.
It was the most humbling thing. And as he said that, I'm like, but they're still not put. He says, bro, they're a bigger star. There's different things that they're looking at. And he
Right.
says, but
Right.
beyond that, and I said, no, actually, wait, you are absolutely right. I had to stop him because I was convicted by thinking that I needed to show my worth by comparing myself to somebody else's worth. And literally, I was convicted. And I just told him, I was like, man, thank you. I almost like got the tears of thank you
Yeah.
because I think what I've been doing a disservice to myself, and it's a part of that imposter syndrome mess. It's a
Mhm.
residual of that where I start thinking that because a thing does not happen for me, this must mean they must not think I'm qualified for it. But
Mhm.
just because you don't get a thing does not have any bearing necessarily on your qualification. It's on
Right.
who they want to use. And
Mhm.
sometimes your analytics won't add up to what you think is a standard of their validation. And so stop because what you're doing is inviting a negative energy into a positive possibility that could work for you but is now perverted because you bringing in a comparison now contaminates your trail to possibly getting the thing that you want and you don't
Mhm.
really get to enjoy it when you have it. But I was so
Right, because now you're
grateful.
coming in it with so much pressure, so much expectation. Well, okay, now I'm here. Now I got,
Yeah,
and it's like,
yeah.
okay, I thought you was ready. Thought you was ready. Thought you had it.
Oh my God, Eunice, and that's one of
Uh.
the things that I get from you that I've learned because you don't compare yourself, and at least
Mm-mm.
I haven't seen it,
No,
and
I'm the only one.
your
I'm the
language
only one
helps me to
though.
see. But when
Yeah,
you first encountered me, you helped me see you're one of one.
that's it.
You're one of one. Like
Right.
nobody does it like Major, and you don't do it like them. And you're one of one. And I speak this for so many people, but I'm telling you that if you are not steadfast, that's why I always encourage the catching of the breath. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I also encourage people to go daily into the recentering of you and your
Mm-hmm.
faith practice so that you are not caught
Mm-hmm.
up in the periphery, the peripheral distractions, or the dances that go all around you to try to pull you off course, because
Mm-hmm.
my lane is my lane. And if I'm
Right.
paying attention to other lanes whilst driving in my lane, I'm bound to run into something.
You cannot run a race looking at who's running with you. You're the only one in the race. But here's the thing, let me say this. And I love that you got convicted. I love that you can hear it and know it. And all of us, it's almost like losing weight. We all know how to lose weight. We might not know how I'm going to lose weight, but I
Mhm.
understand the concept
Right.
of, burning more than you bring in. We got that. That don't work for me, but I understand the science, okay? Well, that's the thing I think about. The conditioning in this society is for you to compare yourself, and it's not even just for you to compare yourself. You can be minding your business on your couch, and the messaging on TV will say you don't even have the best tide. There's new and improved tide. The
Right.
tide you got ain't even good. Okay, and you're like, but wait, you told me to buy that
Doing
one.
away with
you know
perfectly good tide just to get that other
now
tide.
it's new and improved. You don't have the best.
Right,
Okay.
right.
We've done better. Right. And so we are conditioned to be more like your sister, be more like your brother, be more like, and so that's just a conditioning. Right. And then we get inspired, and then we have mentors, and we have role models. And so we are conditioned to find someone to try to be more like. And I think that is the problem, in that you can glean a lot of good and bad behaviors from people you spend time with. Bad
Right.
association will spoil you habits, but it's one of those things, like how you and I come from very different places. Of You are very open to the possibility of everyone's greatness, and I am pretty sure most people ain't trying to be great. Okay.
And I have to be okay with that. That's so good, yo. This is so
They're
good.
not trying to be great. That's we ain't got to talk about that. So what I'm saying to you is, what you never know, what no one ever knows, when you look at somebody doing the thing you would like to do, or the thing you wish you could do, or the thing you strive to do, what you will never know is what they had to do to be
To
there.
get there.
And it's not saying they worked harder. It's not. It's
It's
like
just
you just don't know
you
what
just don't
somebody
know.
had to do. Now, but what you do know is what you haven't done. You don't
Right.
have to know what they did, because that's literally none of your business. But you do know what you haven't done. So stop looking at them and say, oh, you know what? But I haven't finished this script. But I
Right.
haven't done this. I haven't sent that email. So I can look and say, oh man, she just sold another script. Wow, she got a development deal with HBO. Wow, she's in this movie. And I can, if I'm looking at that, I can just say, wow, what? Let me tell you, just like your Grammy seats last night, so many people I know, like connected to, like can have a conversation with, that can reach out to, are getting these great opportunities. I get excited that they not from outer space. It's available. I can touch these people.
Yeah.
Because at some point before you were part of the arts, it was like, wow, somebody who has an album came from the moon.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you can make an album? How you told me, no, no, don't rush through that. There was a time when you could write a book. Oh
Right.
yeah, I've written 3. Keep it moving. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? And so as you matriculate in your own life and what you can do, wow, I can do that. I remember when I didn't know I could do that. And wow, I can do that. And I remember when that was and look at me now. Not look
Right.
at them and look at that. It's wow, look at me. Look
Yeah.
at me. Look at me now. Who else I know my dog said the same thing. Who
Right.
else am I looking at for my journey?
That's it.
Right? Now I can say, wow, I used to didn't know people that were in movies. I used to didn't know people that were on TV. I used to didn't know people that was at the Grammys. Look at me now. Not how come I wasn't at the Grammys.
Listen, Eunice, every single thing you said, yes. Every single thing you said, yes. I have come to realize that we move, and I've said it before, in the context of not being moved or discouraged by people's inability to fully see you in moments, because people judge and make decisions based on the limitation of their greatest experience. So if they haven't experienced something to the degree of what you are, they can't provide anything because they have no information for that. So you can't take offense to it. Just give grace on they haven't arrived yet. They haven't gotten it yet. But it still applies even for the person who compares themselves, because your my information will always be limited. I don't know the full scope. I may even have a lot of information on the physical of what they've done to get to where, but there's a whole mental layer, there's a whole spiritual layer that is a part of it. And the possibility, because I remember having this awakening when you start seeing that people that pass away early, and you're like, and they, some of them have lived these big abundant lives of doing things, and they pass away at a young age, and you're so busy thinking we're the same age, why haven't I done this, why haven't I done this? But Amy Winehouse is no longer with us. Won Grammys, was on the top of every chart.
And you would not want to trade positions with her journey, with her life, with
Right,
her struggles.
right.
And here's the other part about that.
Yeah.
You know, what if you are judging your garden or a tree because it hadn't grown at the same rate as the tree next to it? You wouldn't dare. You would
Wouldn't
find
care.
the beauty in that tree for that tree being that tree. And that's the only tree that's growing out of the ground on that place with its own root system. And guess what? Sometimes you might see a bigger, taller tree, but the roots are not as deep and it's going to fall over quicker than the one that has not gotten up, but
Talk
it is
heavy,
deep down.
talk
Do
heavy,
you hear
talk
me?
heavy,
So
talk
I
heavy.
am secure in the foundation of me and who I am and what I
Yes.
bring to the table and my talent and my ability. I open for someone who I put on stage for the first time 2 years ago.
Yeah.
There's no ego involved because he has an amazing fan base that's going to buy the tickets, support me. And the joy for me is, guess what? When I walk out there, they have no idea who I am. They lightweight kind of don't care. And in that 25 minutes I'm on stage, I have them eating out of my hands. And
Yeah.
that's the power of me. And they come out there and say, where can I find you now? I'm around.